All right, this chapter is called Parallel Lines. Well, I don't know if the whole chapter is, but the section is anyway. Parallel lines. You hate parallel lines?
No, I do this. I know parallel lines.
Okay. And transversals. It's like, what do you have against parallel lines? What did they do to you?
What is ice cream ever?
Okay. So first of all, we're going to talk about parallel lines. You've probably discussed parallel lines at some point in your education up to this point. Would you agree? Have you had some teacher talk about parallel lines? Yeah. So basically, in your own words, without looking in the book or anything, in your own words, basically, what do parallel lines do, Allie?
There are two lines that are I guess, but they'll never ever intersect.
That's right. Very good. They'll never intersect each other. Okay, they're two lines that'll never intersect each other. Let's get a little bit more specific. Since this is geometry, and we delve into things that you've learned before, but we always go a little bit deeper. Let's talk a little bit more about that. Let me get these two rulers as some visual aid here. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you won't be able to see this, but that's all right. So I got two rulers, and I'm holding them up like this. These would be parallel lines, as long as they eventually don't do what? Touch or intersect each other. We'll say intersect, okay? So they won't intersect each other. All right, so those are parallel lines. But there's one extra thing that you got to add to it. Their parallel lines are parallel if they don't intersect each other, but they have to be in the same plane. All right, they have to lie in the same plane. You with me on this? All right, so if I had on this table right here, if I put one line right here, one line right here, and I make them so that they will never ever intersect. As long as they go this way, as long as they go this way, they'll never intersect each other. Okay, they're in the same plane, all right, so they're parallel lines. You with me? What if I did this? Are they still in the same plane? Well, they could be, couldn't they? Yeah, because the plane doesn't always have to be the table, does it? If I hold it up like this, the plane could go like this, up and down. You see it? It could be in that plane. Or I could put them against the wall. Are they in the same plane now? Yeah, they're in the same plane. You with me on this? All right. Even if I did that, are they in the same plane? If they don't touch each other? Yeah, they could be, right? This plane right here. Okay, I don't have enough hands. But that plane right there, okay, that could be a plane, couldn't it, that they're sitting in? So sure. So give me a situation where the two lines are not parallel to each other. Okay, I mean, they touch each other. Eventually going to go like this, okay? But let's say they still don't touch each other, but they're not parallel. And you're like, well, wait a minute. I always heard that two lines were parallel if they just don't ever touch each other. But I can give you a situation where they don't touch, but they're also not parallel. Rachel, what do you think?
If you have, like,
here you go. Use these.
Okay. If you have, like, this way, they're in the same plane.
Right.
If you have
There you
like
go.
that.
You got it. Okay? Did you see that? If you take them and tilt them like this, now they're not in the same plane, are they? Look at this plane right here. This plane's going up and down. You follow me? This plane right here is going this way. All right? You follow me?
Yeah.
Okay? So they're not in the same plane. They're in two different planes. So right here, they're in the same plane. Not in the same plane. Okay? You got it? Yeah, you got to do that. All right? So what do we call these? They're not. They still don't touch each other. They still will never touch each other.
Transversal.
Okay? Now, that's a good guess because I wrote transversal up there. But these are called skew lines. S-K-E-W. It's kind of a weird word. Okay, skew. S-K-E-W. We will hardly ever do anything with skew lines. All I wanted to do is just make it known to you what they are. Okay? That's all. So I don't want to spend any more time on that. These would be called skew lines. They still don't intersect each other, but they're what? Not in the same plane. Give me a big fancy geometry word that we've already learned before if things are not in the same plane.
Non-coplanar.
They're non-coplanar. That's right. What if they are in the same plane? Then they are coplanar. So parallel lines must be what? Coplanar. Very good. Okay. That's all I need to say about that. All right. So parallel lines are coplanar. You got it? Skew lines are non-coplanar. So that's parallel lines. Let's do a couple more things. Let's change the color of this. Now we want to show if you look at a picture in the book or on a worksheet or something like that, or on the board or wherever, and if you just looked at these two lines, just looking at these two lines right there, can you say that those two lines are parallel to each other?
Yeah.
They sure look like they are, don't they? But does that always work in geometry? Can you always go by just what it looks like? You have to be told. You have to be told. So I could tell you that they're parallel lines. Okay, that's one way to do it. But another way to show you on a picture is to, I'll tell you what. before I do that, let's change back to the black. Okay, I'll just put the arrows. These arrows just mean they're the arrows at the ends of the line. You remember that? Okay, I want to show you a different arrow. This was a suggestion in the other class, and I didn't do it, so I'll do it here. So in order to show that they're parallel to each other, right now I can't say that, but if somewhere in between they show an arrow like this, they don't put these arrows on the ends, okay? They'll put them somewhere inside the line, and like this. Usually they make them, oh, that was a little too long. Usually they make them a little bit thicker, a little bit bigger, like this. Okay, so these two arrows right there, what do you think they indicate about these two lines? That they are parallel. Okay, you don't have to, if they just put these two little arrows there, it might be a little bit more bold in the book. All right, it just depends on how they do those. But if you put the little two arrows right there, that means those two lines are parallel to each other. You got it? Pretty simple. Watch this. What if I had two lines going like this? Let me move this over like that. Okay. What if you had two lines like that and they're parallel to each other? In order to show the difference between these parallel and these parallel, I don't put just one arrow. What do you think?
Two.
Put two. So I go like this. So sometimes you'll see a situation like that. So that means that these two are parallel to each other and not parallel to these. You get it? All right. If I threw a third line in, let's say right here, that was parallel to these two, what would I do? I'd still put just one arrow on there. Do you see it? The one arrow means that all these lines are parallel. The two arrows means that these two lines are parallel. Make sense? Okay. Here's another way. Let's label this. Let's call this line AB. And let's call this one down here CD. We'll just start with the two original ones that we had. All right, you with me? Here's how you show parallel. Remember, we've had all kinds of different ways to show things. We know how to show a line. We know how to show a point. We know how to show a ray, a line segment, an angle. Remember all these little symbols for those things? Well, we got a symbol for parallel as well. We also have a symbol for perpendicular. Remember perpendicular? One's going up and down. One's going, yeah, it's like an upside down T. All right, well, the symbol for parallel is pretty easy, but let's write the two lines. This is line AB, so I write line AB. A little arrow there, and line CD. Alright, so if I want to say that line AB is parallel to line CD, it's just two straight up and down lines, just like that. They're supposed to be the same length. Here, push it up like that. It's a little bit better. Okay, so there you go. That little symbol right there, not that big of a deal. They're two little parallel lines. It just goes straight up and down. You see it? So that's the symbol for parallel. So AB is parallel to CD. Now remember, you can also name lines with lowercase letters, couldn't you? So if I said this was LM, how would you write that? It would be line L is what? Parallel to line M. Okay? That's just how you write stuff. And that's pretty much what we're doing today. We're not really learning a lot of math today. We're just learning some vocabulary, learning some symbols, learning, what these words mean. That's about all we're going to do today. You do have homework for this because they'll give you pictures and they'll say, name the parallel lines and all that kind of stuff. And so basically homework tonight is just mainly just looking at it and writing down an answer. And yeah, saying if they're parallel or tell me which ones are parallel. It'll probably say, what line is parallel to line AB? And you got all kinds of lines flying all over the place. All right, so that's the kind of stuff that they'll give you here. Tomorrow, it's not going easy. That's just how they started off. Okay, tomorrow we'll do some numbers. We'll do some actual math with it. But right now we're just learning what these things are. Now we haven't even talked about transversals yet, have we? So let's pause this. All right, so we talked about what parallel lines were. We wrote that word down before, but we haven't talked about it. Now we're going to talk about this. What a transversal is. I can't spell. Transversal. How about the V right there? Alright, so let's... Oh, man, that line's terrible. Transversal. There we go. Well, let's draw a couple parallel lines. Let's go back to black here. Actually, they don't even have to be parallel to begin with, okay? I'm just going to make them like this. Is that alright?
That's cool.
Alright, so thanks. So here's two lines right here. They're not necessarily parallel to each other, okay? They don't have to be parallel. They're just any two lines. So if a transversal would be this. a transversal is a line that intersects two or more other lines. All right, so that red one right there, we'll call the red one a transversal because the transversal, it cuts. A lot of times we'll use that word. That transversal cuts the parallel lines. You with me? All right, or it intersects them. Make sense? All right. Let's say that's L, that's M, and this is T. Okay, it's still a line. I didn't put the arrows. Okay, it's kind of a pain to put arrows every single time you draw a line. Just pretend they keep on going forever in all directions. Okay, so it's a line that crosses two other lines. It intersects two other lines. So which one of these, T, L, or M, actually hits two other lines? T does, right. T hits L and it hits M. M is only hitting T. L is only hitting. Now, eventually they might hit, okay? But right now, T is hitting both of those lines. You get it? All right, so that's a transversal. Yes?
So, like, if they asked you a question, if it was transversal, only it would be in the picture, like, L and M, you wouldn't write L and M being transversal.
Right.
They're gonna eventually touch.
But they would only, yeah, exactly. It's the one that crosses. Now, I don't know, do they have an official definition? I don't even have the book open in front of me. Do they have an official definition for transversal?
A line that intersects two or more coplanar lines.
There you go. A line that intersects at two different points. Okay, so I guess technically, if this kept on going and intersected each other, I guess you could say this was a transversal between T and M, right? Because it intersects two other lines. But right now, you're right. We don't think of this as keep on going. We just figure it stops here and stops here. Okay, so that's a transversal. Now, this transversal also forms some what in here? What are these things? Angles. That's right. Let's number these. Let's call this 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, and 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good call. All right. What I want you to do is I want you to look. Do you see how these four angles are all kind of grouped together around this line L and this transversal, and these four angles are grouped between this line M and this transversal? Okay. What I want to do is we're just doing vocabulary right now. All right. Look at angle 1 and angle 5. Look at 1 in this group of 4. 1's kind of, I don't know, you could probably say in the top left-hand corner. Is that a good way to say that? All right, so 1's in the top left-hand corner. Look at down here. Which one's in the top left-hand corner down here? 5. Okay, so 1 and 5 kind of match up with each other, don't they? We call those corresponding angles. Yeah, we'll talk about those in a sec. Actually, in the other class, I talked about that first, but decided to change things around. So,
do different YouTube things, like one for the one class and one for our class?
yeah, each class has their own. All right, so corresponding angles. So 1 and 5 would be, let's list all the corresponding angles. So angle 1 and angle 5 would be corresponding angles, wouldn't they? Now remember what corresponding means. They match up. They're kind of in the same spot. You see it? 1's in the top left corner here, 5's in the top left corner down here. All right, so with that said, let's put angle 2 down. What do you think is corresponding with angle 2? Angle 6. Because look, up here in this group compared to the ones up down here in this group. So look, 2 is in the top right-hand corner of this group of 4. What's in the top right-hand corner down here? 6 is. Do you see it? So
It wouldn't be matching though because line and the slant is not.
yeah, I didn't say they were equal. I didn't say they were equal to each other. We haven't said that at all. But they do match up with each other. Right? Doesn't mean they're the same, but they're kind of in the same spot, aren't they? Right? Comparatively, right? If you compare here and here. Let's do some more. What about angle 3?
7.
All right, angle 7. Now you get the idea, don't you? What else? What's the next one? Angle 4 and angle 8. All right, that's a weird angle symbol, but you get the idea. Those are, I know. They have, oh, did I put 5? Why did I do that? I said 8, put down 5, whatever. All right, so those are all your corresponding angles. Everybody got that? Okay, corresponding angles. Understand that those go together, 2 and 6, 3 and 7, 4 and 8. They're corresponding angles. Make sense? All right, let's go on to another video and we'll finish the rest of it.